Half-time here at the Chris Moyle Stadium in this Cooperative Championship game, and Halifax, the championship leaders, ahead by 20 points to 10, but facing a real tough challenge, as anticipated, from Darryl Powell's Featherstone Rovers side, who will be looking to close the gap in this second half, playing with the slope to their advantage. And Ben Black, already with 2 tries to his name tonight, the former Burley Bear, brought back to Halifax for a second spell and really carrying on where he left off. Black, he scored 36 tries the last time he was here in 33 appearances, and he's on the try bandwagon again this time. His 2 tries helping Halifax into that lead. Whether they can hold on to that is the question.
Well, I think that Darryl Powell will actually be quite happy when you consider they've won the penalties 10-5. They've played 72 play the balls compared to Halifax's 51, and they've actually made Halifax make 103 tackles, whereas Featherstone themselves have only had to make 85. And you know, sometimes that takes a lot out of the other team, and Featherstone will have to capitalise on this, because the problem for Featherstone is that Halifax have made 3 line breaks, and guess what? Scored 3 tries, and that's the problem. They may be leading in the stat sheet, in the stats department, but they're not leading on the scoreboard.
High shot on Tamgart, he felt that. Dickens came swinging and found his man. The referee awards the penalty.
Just before half-time, it was the opposite way around. Yeah, just clips him in the face. I think that's 1-1 now, lads. Let's get on with the game.
Do you think it'll be that simple?
On his foot.
No.
I was that simple.
He's Frank Watine now.
Surrender.
Another of the big guns.
Stand.
You won't be happy about giving 40 metres away, that's for sure.
And here is Tamgart once more, eager for another chance. Dickens gets hold of the other end this time.
Hold. Go. Stuart, you're off.
Penkovic, Watine, they're throwing their heavy artillery at them early on here. And another flop, and the penalty count continues to mount.
Wait, Sean, wait.
It must be very frustrating for the fans who are stood and sat at home watching this, but nevertheless, we'll get on with the action.
Go.
Bezic, Black now. Black's pass, not a good one for Larder. Larder gets the tackle from Steele at the same time as he gets the ball. Miles Greenwood now. Greenwood, been on the periphery in the first half, really, the Halifax fullback. Takes that ball up, though. Penkovic, Watine, short ball from Watine to Tamgart, and Tamgart is over. And that is the revenge, the best sort of revenge from Saeed Tamgart. Got a high shot a few moments ago, and the blood on his nose tells the story, but Tamgart had the best possible response. The former UTC player powering onto that ball from Frank Watine, and David Larder just has a quiet word with him.
Forwards will do this all day and all night. They wear the scars, they wear their war wounds with pride. Matt Callan says go for 2. He says go for 2, let's keep the pressure. They tap it, play the ball, and beautiful hand from Frank Watine again. For the second time in this match, we've seen the big fellas using the skill. Outstanding, Frank Watine. Saeed Tamgart still had a lot to do. He had to catch that ball under pressure, try not to spill it and put it down.
Saeed Tamgart was brought to the British game by Steve Deakin, who took him to Oldham from UTC, knew him well from his days there, did Steve. And he attracted quite a bit of attention in his Oldham days. Matt Callan taking a chance on him. And that's going to keep the nose bunged up for a while. The blood still flowing. And again, Lee Patterson will be thankful that the try has been scored close to the post, so he can maintain his success rate here. And that's the best possible start to the second half for Halifax, because they'll have been anticipating Featherstone coming out firing at them, and they've hit them.
Yeah, they certainly have, Bill, and on the back of 2 penalties, Sean Penkovic's easy pass, Frank Watine, who looks very simple, that tip-on play to Saeed Tamgart, but that does take a lot of skill. You've got to look at the numbers that are coming out, how the defence is lined up, but really there was an opportunity there to stop that try, but Featherstone, probably their own worst enemy, is almost self-inflicted there with 2 penalties that allowed them to get up there into good field position.
So Halifax ahead by 26 points to 10. That'll please Kai Morgan, who's 5 years old today. His mum Sarah is the office manager at Halifax at the Shea, and Kai's celebrating his birthday. Well, he'll be delighted to see his team taking a 26 points to 10 lead with that try from Tamgart. And Watine makes good yards for his side, just over the 40-metre line. And then Penkovic with the kick. He was inside the 40, but don't think that's got the legs for a 40-20. It hasn't, but it still finds a decent touch. We'll go down to the sidelines now, join Ben Pro for some half-time news.
Bill, Darryl Powell will not at all be pleased with this start to the second half. The instructions in the dressing room at half-time were to keep the pressure on Halifax and see whether they would buckle under that pressure. Tom Hockey, the only injury concern for Featherstone. He turned that left ankle. It was an injury he had coming into the game, but he's okay to continue. Speaking to Martin Hall, he wanted to keep Halifax in the game by improving on their ball control and not giving those penalties away. And they're very unhappy about the Yestin Harris try that was awarded by the video referee Robert Hicks. They didn't think that was a 4-pointer at all.
Well, the try stood, and even to Yestin Harris's astonishment, it stood. As Dickens warned for just crawling forward there by referee James Child. As Featherstone bring the ball forward, a couple of borderline high tackles there, which had the Featherstone supporters voicing their disapproval. The pass out wide, Kirk ducked underneath it. It was behind Steele, and Harris's pass finds touch.
This pass is a little bit in front of one player and behind the other. Either one of them wanted to commit to it. Halifax get the ball back just inside their own half. The try that they scored just after half-time came from good lead-up play. The big fellas getting good yardage, and again we see Roberts here. He only knows one way, and that's forward.
Good handoff from Roberts, linking up with Dwayne Barker. The former Harlequin Barker plays the ball. Shad Royston now. Royston gets to his feet to play the ball. Greenwood, that looked forward, it was forward.
Miles Greenwood's been very quiet in this game. He's used as a link player here at the minute. He had a player on the front door, a player out the back door, and just passed it Dan Marino style to Frank Watine.
Just been watching Halifax in that set and a couple of sets beforehand, probably since they started the second half. It looks to me like Sean Penkovic has moved in to play a dummy half role. Looks like he's actually gone to hooker, and perhaps Bob Bezic has gone to a standoff role. An interesting move by Halifax there.
Here goes John Steele.
Hold.
Steele.
Go.
30 metres out playing that ball. Dickens driving it in. Watine gets a hold of him. McLaughlin. Clever, crafty running from McLaughlin. Kane it is who plays the ball. Opportunity for Featherstone here now. Field, the pass from Field has gone backwards. It's been knocked on, I think, by a Halifax player. Over on the far side of the field.
It's an offload from Jamie Field here, and I think looks like Bob Bezic who tries to regather it. There he is at the top of your screen. Just knocks that ball on.
Okay, heads in. Turn back on.
So another opportunity for Featherstone Rovers here as Field picks up from the base of the scrum. Hockey playing on despite that ankle problem, and still going Hockey. The ball out wide to Steele. Steele cuts back in Field. Goes to ground, the Scotsman. The pass, not a good one. Kane is scrambling back, somehow gets it to Harris, and this might yet work out for Featherstone Rovers. Spears it is, and Spears by name, and Spears by action there, driving towards the line. McLaughlin now, Harris floats the ball for Kane. Kane trying to step back on the inside. It was Bezic who got a hold of him. Paul Smith there in support. Harris again looking for a second try. Or in Halifax eyes, a first try. He's right on that try line. The ball popped up. But it's still loose, and Spears pounces on it, but that's not going to count.
No, it
Knocked
needed
on
to be
by-
soft hands near that line. Needed to be soft hands for Stuart Dickens.
Scrum.
Just a little bit too hard.
We can go back down to the sidelines now, because I think in the crowd tonight is the Hull FC coach, Richard Agar. I thought he'd be at home getting packed for a trip to Edinburgh. He's here, and he's ready to talk to Ben.
That's right, Bill. Richard Agar, a former favourite here at Featherstone. First against fourth, Richard. It's a terrific advert for the Cooperative Championship.
Yeah, most of the games over the last few Thursdays have been great advert for the Championship, and you know this is no different. Both teams look, very well organised, and they're very much committed, and they're throwing the ball about well.
And a little bit of time out for you before a big game against Castleford up at Murrayfield. You're looking forward to it?
Absolutely, it's firmly becoming an event on the Rugby League calendar, and it's a little bit of something different, playing at another marquee stadium, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to it like the rest of the Rugby League public, Ben.
Thanks very much, Richard.
Cheers, mate.
Richard Agar's team in action on Sunday at 2:45 against Castleford, a game you can see on Sky Sports 2 via the red button. It is repeated later on Sunday night at 10 o'clock as well on Sky Sports Extra for those not able to get it via the red button. Oh, that kick is a wicked one. Hardman's let it bounce, and very nearly was embarrassed as Roberts came up on the charge, and Roberts in fact has gone down in a heap in the in-goal area. So all sorts happening there.
Mark Robert chases really hard. Once the bounce goes against Hardman, I think you'll find he's got a cork on his leg, got a dead leg. He's still down in back play. But Ian Hardman committing the cardinal sin, never let the ball bounce. To be fair, it's quite close to that back line. There's Mark Roberts in your picture. He's in real trouble. Is he winded? Is it a dead leg?
I think he could be winded there, Barry.
Just watch that. Yeah, it looks like his rib cage on the right side probably.
Another straight pass, and that's been pounced on. Great work by Mark Gleeson to pounce on that loose pass from Featherstone, and they're being architects of their own downfall now at the moment. Featherstone just getting a little bit sloppy.
Just a simple drop pass, and Gleeson showing some enthusiasm. There's 3 hookers on the pitch now.
Here's Matt James. James driven towards the sidelines, and that'll be head and feed to Featherstone Rovers. Great work by the Rovers defence there.
I think that's outstanding commitment in defence. Matt James has a poor body angle. Numbers come over and push him off the island.
James frustrated, Halifax frustrated, and Sean Pengovich, I think, asking the referee why they were penalised earlier on in a situation like that. But I think the case there was that Matt James never stopped. They had control of that situation. Mark Roberts, meanwhile, is leaving the field as play continues. So it's not a simple winding that he's going to be able to run off. I think it's probably a rib problem, another penalty.
Yeah, I'd agree, Bill. It looks like some sort of rib problem there. It'll be either some sort of bruising of the rib or a rib cartilage problem, but they're quite painful, very painful. In fact, we can see Mark Roberts there. He's trying to get his breath, and when you've got a rib injury, it's very, very hard to get that deep breath going because the pain just shoots through, and it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't come back for the remainder of the match.
It's Featherstone Rovers on the attack now with Tim Spears.
Yeah, I got it.
Featherstone really looking to halt a 5-game losing sequence against Halifax. Last time they beat them was August in 2004.
Matty Dale did well. Wayne Barker almost caught that pass out of his hands. Halifax being really tested here.
Knock on.
That ball went forward, Fields pass, and
control, Bob, onto the Featherstone player. That's the knock on.
This is an interesting
couldn't take it in.
This is an interesting one. A judging that Bob Bezic loses this ball forward.
Tight ends. Stay out.
What he's ruled is that he loses the ball onto a Featherstone player, which does constitute a knock-on. Featherstone probably need to score pretty soon. I know there's a long time, 27 minutes in the game, but they need to be the next scorers, I believe, to be in the match.
Well, they could be in the match here with Tony Tonks if he's got that ball down. Or did he lose it?
If it's not a try,
I think
it was
he's lost
great
it.
work from James Houston, who set him up there.
I think he's lost it. Look at the player, look at his reaction. There's my old favourite, Grit. If he gets his thumb around that ball, that's a try. I can always tell off the reaction of the player himself. They're not very good liars, rugby league players.
I'm going to give a penalty on the goal line for offside.
Yeah.
No try. Penalty offside. No
The
advantage.
try disallowed, but
First offence is offside.
the penalty
No
against
advantage.
Halifax were offside
What was it, Walker?
at that play the ball.
Number 6 was offside. It was no advantage.
And
Wait, I'm going on the goal line. Okay.
the referee saying that Dwayne Barker it was who was the culprit. So the pressure continues.
Hold. Go.
Tonks denied. Gets to his feet to play the ball. Kane darts for a hole, finds it, gets the try. Andy Kane gets the try that brings Featherstone Rovers back into the hunt. And in the end, after all that biffing and barging and banging, it was a delicate little dart from Andy Kane that gets the try. And the penalty awarded against Halifax, taken full advantage of by Featherstone Rovers.
Tony Tonks gets incredibly close near this line, a lovely offload, but his grip isn't the best. He knocks that ball up because Halifax were offside. Featherstone get another bite of the cherry. A show and go, and Andy Kane knows where the line is, puts his head down and goes. The ball in two hands again. Just that little show is enough for Shad Royston, and his hips denied him.
Iestyn Harris has taken over the goal-kicking duties, looking to add the 2 points. Minimal run-up. Harris on target. Featherstone Rovers 16, Halifax 26. They won't go away, Featherstone Rovers. Kane with his 12th try of the season. And has been a promising talent for a while. Andy Kane was a National League Young Player of the Year in 2005. In his Castleford Tigers days, as you saw there. More experience now.
Yeah, they'll be delighted with that try, and I mentioned just before, Bill, I felt that they had to be the next scorers to give themselves an opportunity to win this game. There's plenty of time left on the clock, 25 minutes, but it just, you felt that if Halifax scored next, here's another short kick-off attempt from Halifax, everybody on side, tip back, and that's about the third time they've got a result, and straight away, Featherstone now, instead of having the ball and being able to work their way out of their own half, they're under pressure.
Dana Wilson, they've kept him in reserve. He's just come on the field for his first show, I think, Dana Wilson. So he's fresh and raring to go. Another of the big bruisers off the bench. Talking of bruisers, here's another one, David Larder. Takes the tackle and immediately Halifax putting the pressure on. Here is Matt James. This time he stays on the field of play. Gleeson has to stumble over the body of Harris to get to that ball. They're coming from deep now with Penkovic. Penkovic almost through, still going. Scampering run from Sean Penkovic to the short side. Little kick stabbed through from Black. Very well dealt with.
Stuart Kane needs to be brave on that. It's a tactical kick. What they're deciding to do, Halifax, is give the ball back to Featherstone and make them run away from their own line here. One of the Featherstone players actually pushed his own player back into the field of play.
It's a tough physical game here this evening, a draining match for these players. Of course, there's one or two full-timers out there, but the majority of them are part-timers, training to either end of the day and then going off to do a full day's work, several of them. And it's Featherstone, their tails up now. That try has given them real conviction that they can snatch this. Harris stabs the kick in. Just didn't have the run on it. Patterson able to field that ball, but it's a good chase.
But it's another territorial kick, you see. You haven't seen Featherstone do that. Mostly in the first half, they've gone for broke every time they've got near the line. That's an intelligent kick. What's the reaction and what's the defence like?
Greenwood, another dart from him. Gleeson. And here's Penkovic. Larder was looking for support. Nobody on his inside. Again, they get the quick play the ball. Penkovic scooting across the field. But nowhere for him to go. Matty Dale hounds him down to make the tackle. So Bezic puts that kick in the corner. That's going to be too strong, and Hardman, in charge of that situation, knew what was coming.
Well, Bob Bezic won't be happy with the kick, but again, you're making the Featherstone side come out from 20 metres, so it's not too bad. It just depends on how Halifax will handle this set of 6. And
what we're seeing, Sean, is for the first time after 58 minutes, we're starting to see an arm wrestle develop.
Just about to use the same terminology, Barry. It's exactly right. And this is what both sides like. You know, the scoreline's close. We're not thinking, no one's panicking. Halifax aren't thinking we have to score. Featherstone aren't thinking we have to score. But what we'd like to do is put ourselves in a position and give ourselves some opportunities. The way to do that is perhaps get into this arm wrestle type game. You do a set of 6, we'll do a set of 6. We don't want to make mistakes. We don't want to give penalties away. We don't want to turn the football over on the other team's terms. We want to do it on our own terms.
Here they come again with Yestin Harris. Harris, ball over the top. Kane finds Hardman. Hardman gets away from one. Ball comes back in field to Hockey. Hockey, good run from him, a big hit from Larder. Oh, and Hockey felt that. Whoa, hang on a minute, just check the old marbles. We're all in place. Harris, lovely ball over the top for Saxton. Saxton gets it away for Steele. It's on the last. Steele looking for a way through. He won't find it. And that'll be the turnover, but again, Featherstone probing this Halifax defence, and they really are being tested here this evening at Halifax, and Featherstone living up to their reputation of testing the big guns. They did it last year. They beat the Celtic Crusaders 42-30. They drew 30-all with the Salford City Reds. They know how to up their game.
Featherstone asking questions, even though they don't get to the kick, they surrender the ball virtually on the line. That's a great shot coming in from James Houston. It just feels the level of physicality, it's up.
Another big game coming up for Featherstone very shortly, of course, because they've got the Warrington Wolves to come in the Challenge Cup. They'll be upping their game for that. Here they trail 26 points to 16. A good kick down the line. Oof. Hardman just keeping that one in.
And it probably helps that Ian Hardman's kept that ball in. He could have let that ball go over the sideline, a scrum, but I think the Featherstone want to keep the ball in play. I think they feel that they've got a little bit of energy now. They're certainly defending very, very well. The last set of 6, they were able to go 80 metres down the field. I just feel as though perhaps they feel that Halifax might just be under a bit of pressure. Here's a break.
Good work from Tommy Saxton. Saxton taking on Greenwood, the 2 number 1s. Play on, says the referee. The tackle wasn't completed, so Saxton's able to offload. Saxton gets the ball back. And eventually he is tackled. And Featherstone sensing their moment here. It's with Harris now. Again, they give it some width. They've got an opportunity here. Play on. Matty Dale does just that. And the tackles. Halifax just slipping off them at the moment. The ball's popped up. It's putted down, and I think that's going to be a goal line dropout because Houston was very nearly in there for Featherstone.
Now James Child needs to be very carefully. On 2 occasions he's called play on when I think the motion and the momentum of the team has stopped. They get incredibly close to the line here, Featherstone. At that point it's play on. Dave Larder puts his body on the line and halts. Stops.
Third time Halifax have been forced to drop out from underneath their own posts. Field it is who gathers the ball after it ricochets off his shins.
Move! Hold! Go!
Here is Houston, the Scottish international, and
Move!
again making
10 metres.
inroads into that Halifax defence. It was Tamgart with the tackle. Harris, Steele's coming off his wing. Black was clinging on to him for dear life. It's Steele who plays the ball. Saxton. Harris floats a long pass out wide. It's back on the inside to Hardman.
Move.
The pass was from field. Hardman takes the tackle. They go wide again. Hockey, and Hockey is over. But was he over? fairly.
Just check the ground in.
I think that's a try, Bill. Tommy Hockey, virtually 2 minutes ago, had his clocks well and truly cleaned. He gets the ball here, that's a try, no danger. Building pressure, that's all they've done for the last 10 or so minutes. Perfect two-handed put down.
Okay, man, cheers.
No problemo.
And the try is awarded. And Tom Hockey gets his 7th try of the season. Try scorer in the win at Lee last time out, and a try scorer tonight, and it could be a crucial one as well, because it's brought his side right back into this game now, and Halifax just feeling the heat.
Halifax at this point, they need the characters to stand up. They needed leaders to get stuck into this game, grab it by the scruff of the neck and do what Featherstone are doing. Get in this arm wrestle, put pressure on your opponents near their line. Jamie Field, again a second row forward. I've seen more passing from forwards in this game than I have for a while, and in the championship definitely. It's great to see.
So Yestin Harris with this tricky conversion attempt, way out wide, again pushed it across the face of the posts, but the sides level as far as try scoring goes, 4 tries apiece. It's the goal kicking that's crucial now for Lee Patterson, with his trusty boot, has meant it's still Halifax who lead. 26-20 the scoreline now. But Matt Calland, a little bit edgy. Darryl Powell looking very relaxed.
Very interesting, Bill, to see whether Halifax now decide to pump the ball down the field. I think they will. I think they'll get rid of the short kickoff. There we go. They're going to try to force an error now. We want Featherstone to come up with an error. They've realised Featherstone have got the ascendancy, they've got the momentum, they've got a lot of confidence. So Halifax now need to find a way to get that back. Interesting to note, they've taken a lot of their bigger players off the field too, Halifax, because they've had to defend a lot of sets.
There it is. There's the error you're talking about, Sean. Saeed Tamgar. Oh, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. He's actually penalised. Penalised. Who's he penalised? I think he's penalised Bob Bezic for ripping the ball out. Difficult to see.
20th penalty of the game. But it's a penalty that gives Featherstone an opportunity to again make inroads into the Halifax defence. Here's Tony Tonks. Tonks, strong run from him.
10 metres. Go.
Harris. Kane.
Third. Move.
Tackled by Bezic.
Go.
Dale.
4. Move.
4 tackles gone as he plays the ball. Hockey. Here's Kane now. Harris. Hardman. Hardman gets it wide to Steele. If Steele had been able to keep his feet, he could have been in the corner, but the pass was dipping in front of him. And the winger had to just bend and pick it up, so Harris hoists the kick on the last. It's not a bad one. And it's interference, I think, is the call from the referee.
Interference.
A hurried kick from Yestin Harris, but what he did, he put plenty of height on it. It's a challenge for the ball, and the referee, adjudging Jamie Field, took out Dwayne Barker. Quite clearly, Jamie Field pulls Dwayne Barker back. Penalty, correct decision.
Go.
Well, Halifax need to settle down now, don't they? They seemingly haven't had any ball for quite some time in the second half. And they look a little tired, they look a little ragged. Featherstone have got all the momentum now, and the claim that may be a penalty, though. That will be a penalty for a ball steal.
Well, they can't complain about that one.
It's 101 blows of the whistle, that's what it is. But again, it's the correct decision. It's not the referee that's making the mistakes, causing the infringements.
Hold. Go.
Gleeson, darting run from him.
2. Move. Hold. Go.
Off goes Paul Smith.
Third.
Good work for Bezic, who's
Hold.
made good yards for his team there. Bezic plays the ball. Tamgart, almost through.
Move.
Right underneath those posts. Black now. Black, decided to go on his own.
5. Move.
Black just short of the try line. Gleeson now. Penkovic stabs the kick in. And it's Stuart Kane who runs that one back.
Tremendous composure from Ben Black. Just gathered that ball, got back into the field of play.
I was just going to say, Barry, the kick was fine. There was no problem with the execution of the kick. It's just that the Halifax guys on the outside just sort of, they switched off momentarily. Wasn't a great chase and allowed Featherstone to get back in the field of play. And they're marching down the field very, very easily. Their yardage gains are far too great for the Halifax defence, and Featherstone certainly have the ascendancy right now.
Another good run from Saxton involved in this set of 6, and Field is able to offload the ball to Harris.
Destin Harris wanted his winger Steele to come inside then. I'm going to mention this slope again. I think it is a real factor.
Spears thumps a kick across the field. It's really gone laterally, and it's come up for Halifax. And look at that. Even at this stage, with the game as evenly poised as it is, they're still looking to keep it alive. It was Haley who offloaded it. They dealt with that one well. The kick maybe not as deep as Spears would have wanted.
Move, hold.
Wayne Barker nearly lost that ball. They just need to be squeaky clean here, Halifax. Get to the kick and get out of their own red zone. As Sean said, they seem to have been in there forever this half.
Tony, no hands in.
Well, Matt Callan knew it was going to be one of the toughest examinations of the season here tonight. And he was worried, he said, in the build-up about their defensive frailties. Gateshead scoring 6 tries against them last weekend took the shine off another thumping victory, and teams have scored points against this Halifax side. OK, they've scored a shed load of points themselves. They're a bit like the Newcastle United of the Championship, and when Kevin Keegan was in charge, he scored bags of goals, but they probably let a few in as well. Here come Featherstone. Now coming up to about 10 minutes left, and more championship action to come next Thursday night from the recreation ground as Whitehaven take on the Widnes Vikings. Paul Cullen going back to his old stamping ground. That ball's come forward and come up for Halifax, and Featherstone can't afford those sort of errors. That's Sky Sports Extra. Next Thursday night, 7:30, we'll be up at Whitehaven.
Jamie Field, a stalwart of this Featherstone side, just losing his composure for a second or so.
The break is on by Penkovic, and that could be a crucial match-sealing try from Sean Penkovic as he goes in the corner. And I was just beginning to sense whether the big effort that Featherstone had made in this second half was beginning to tell on them. And suddenly the gap opened up in the Featherstone Rovers defence, and Penkovic was through it in a flash to reach double figures for the season, his 10th.
Halifax have withstood the pressure that Featherstone had put on them, come up to the other end of the pitch, and again it's Jamie Field. He's unable to step back. He's already motioning towards the sideline. Stuart Dickens can't shut that gate. He can't make up for his teammate's mistake. Matt Callan well pleased with that.
Sean Penkovic been in the thick of it again for his side tonight, leading the team. Penkovic, captain on the field, the former Huddersfield Giants and Warrington Wolves Academy man in the days of his youth.
Well, it was a terrific try, wasn't it, Bill? You know, when you consider that he's been playing all over the place. I think Matt Callan's got him playing at 9 at the moment, and has played him most of the second half because they want that speed out of dummy half. And they've got some terrific ball runners there. You've got Bob Bezic that can play there. You've got Mark Gleeson that can play there. And actually, Sean Penkovic has probably gone back to a standoff role now because Mark Gleeson has been on the field for a while. But they've got a number of dummy half runners who are very, very quick. They read play extremely well, and that's obviously a key part of the game plan, particularly for the second half.
Patterson, can he land this one? Oh! He's on target again, 6 from 6 from Lee Patterson, and he was being very modest when he said that they'd give him them from right in front of the post, because that was a tricky kick, and he's landed that one as well.
And they need to be knocked over. Here's the offload. Just a shame, because Jack Lee can't get that offload, and it puts pressure on the Featherstone side. For the last 10 minutes, they've been trying to apply it, and the quality side that Halifax have withstood it, come back up the other end of the pitch and scored tries. Perfect reaction.
And now it's Featherston's turn to try the short restart, and it comes up for them, although they're offside. It was Fallon, I think, who was the man offside as that ball went backwards and forwards.
I haven't spoke much about this, Bill, all night, but the short kick-off option is a tremendous option. It's a great attacking part of your game, but when it goes wrong, you're really under enormous pressure. Halifax now been able to take the kick, and they're going to start their set of 6. Instead of starting somewhere 5 metres, 10 metres from their line, they start 45 metres out from the Featherstone line, and that just puts enormous pressure on your defence.
Well, has the fire gone out for Featherstone now, because they really did throw everything at Halifax in the third quarter of this game, third quarter and beyond. And Halifax look as though they have weathered the storm.
Move! Hold!
Still not home and dry yet.
No, Bill, even if it's 1,000,000 to 1, there's still a chance. The momentum with this Halifax side. What they can't do is give away cheap penalties.
Larder struggling to get to his feet to play that ball. Fallon was just trying to slow him down. Penkovic, great offload from Penkovic. And Royston is in for his second try of the night. Featherstone furious with that forward pass. I think they're fuming about, but wonderful hands again from this Halifax side, keeping the ball alive. And Royston is in the right place to grab try number 12 for the season.
All the Featherstone players are complaining about the pass. We'll have a look in the second. What you can't do is deny the quality and the strength. Penkovic, right, 2-3 tackles and off ball to the ball. Let's have a look at it here. We might see better on this angle. No, I'm still not too sure. I won't deny the skill, the strength. Just here, it might just have a point, but you cannot and you must not play on until you hear the referee's whistle. Go and blow for that infringement. Play to the whistle. Nice piece of quality play.
It was terrific skill, wasn't it, by Sean Penkovic? He's been a key player tonight for Halifax, and that was tremendous. And Lee Patterson aiming to kick yet another goal.
7 from 7 for Patterson.
That 1,000,000 to 1, Bill, has just gone to 10,000,000 to 1, I think.
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone now. There's not enough time on the clock. But, you know, again, I go back to the short kick-off. If you're going to have a short kick-off option, you've really got to get the football. But Sean Penkovic here goes through the line, in traffic, offloads the ball. You know what? I think that's okay. Yeah. I think that's okay.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt for the skill and ability he's shown there.
Royston getting 2. Takes him up to 12, and his rival Ben Black has got 2. He's up to 12. So those two going neck and neck as far as the top try scorer goes. And Halifax will retain their place at the top of the table, and they haven't finished yet. Stories this afternoon that a group of Labour MPs have tabled a motion calling for Halifax to be immediately promoted to Super League because of their outstanding success this season. I think it might be a bit tongue-in-cheek.
I found out off a very reliable source today that Halifax is the carpet capital of the world, and the carpets in the White House are from Halifax.
They go for 1 point just to rub salt into the wounds. And Penkovic it is who has done that.
Been a very influential player. Sean Penkovic stands out wide. It's not the prettiest drop goal, but they all count.
On the grapple, mate. Stuart, your hand doesn't need to go in on the head.
Sean Penkovic will get the red carpet
Stay on.
from his coach when he gets back in the changing room.
Another short restart, and Halifax are wise to that. They do it enough themselves, and Haley underneath that one.
2-18.
Watine in possession.
Go.
It's with Dana Wilson now, and this winning run from Halifax against Featherstone continues. This will be 6 in a row now that they've won against Rovers.
Hold. Go.
Although Featherstone can point to a pre-season friendly over the Christmas holidays that they won quite convincingly, but that didn't count for much. This is the one that counts as far as the championship goes.
And they've competed really well, Featherstone. We saw them last week, didn't we, on Sky Sports, come up with a victory against the Lee Centurions, and they've come out here tonight against the top of the table side, and they're just, you've got to be at your best, and I don't think Featherstone have been at their best for long enough tonight. They've just come up with far too many errors. We saw a period here in the second half where they applied the blowtorch, and we just saw, because of one error, all of a sudden Halifax were able to go up and basically steal the game from them and be more and more dominant over the last 10 minutes. But Featherstone certainly have shown enough here tonight to suggest they're going to be in the mix at the end of the season. Very tough side to beat. They're probably just going to get better as the season goes on, and I think they could be either they'll be satisfied with their effort. They probably won't be satisfied with the scoreboard. Nobody ever is when you lose.
They're going to be disappointed to miss out on a bonus point, but that's symptomatic of their night. Just one or too many of those for their comfort, really.
Of course it is. You're spot on with your analysis, and it's a little bit unfair to Tommy Hockey, who's as tough as teak and got a knock really early on and played hard and played strong, but unfortunately too many errors that cost Featherstone dearly. You cannot fault the commitment. Daryl Powell just, again, going through what went wrong, and I'm sure he's got plenty to work on. Ryan Sheridan, his assistant coach, they'll have a good week's training set out for the players.
Kick and chase here, but too strong. That'll find touch, and Halifax, well, they'll extend this winning sequence. 13 games this will be now for Matt Callan's side. Unbeaten, well, 13 wins in a row, in fact, for this Halifax side, their best run in the post-war years. And it's going to take some stopping on this sort of form.
Halifax have been outstanding. They withstood the pressure, and at different times in this game, Featherstone were likely to run away with the game and maintain that momentum, but Halifax, through quality players like Penkovic, through additions from the bench, Tamgart, Watini, Wilson and Gleeson when he came on and mixed things up. I think the coach got it pretty much spot on tonight.
Featherstone trying it right to the end. Well, this a big game to start what is a big weekend for rugby league followers, of course, with the Murrayfield Magic to come, but a big game tomorrow night. And second place third in the championship as Widners take on Barrow. That should be some game as well.
Move! That far. Hold.
Here we're coming up to the final minute. And Halifax having really weathered the storm, because when Featherstone got it back to a 6-point difference, it's fair to say they were wobbling, and Hardman might yet have the last word with a real flourish.
I don't know whether he was onside then. I think he's a yard offside. Lovely play though.
On the fifth.
Nothing to lose. Let's have a crack and be a bit creative. Just at the top of your oh no, I'm wrong. He's well onside. The kick is in front of the red line. Hardman is behind the red line. The grounding. Bob on.
Okay.
Try is awarded to Ian Hardman. Featherstone Rovers having the final word here. Hardman gets his 6th try of the season.
Okay, mate.
Great creativity. And Dickens with the conversion attempt. Still out of reach of a bonus point. And that drop goal by Penkovic is going to make all the difference, unless, well, they're going to have to do it from the restart. They're going to have to find something else dramatic, but just, oh, this is going to be so annoying for Daryl Powell. Out of reach of a bonus point as well.
As Sean said, the result hasn't gone nowhere, but the performance is plenty to build on. Halifax have just been the better side, shown more composure. The willingness to work and defend has been the difference, along with Sean Penkovic.
And final action of the game. A bit of a high shot, and that sort of sums up what this game has been. There's been moments of indiscipline, there's been probably a bit too much whistle for some people's liking. You probably can't fault the referee for that, because both these sides were probably trying to negate what they do best, what each does best. And they couldn't really do that because Halifax have still managed to rack up the points.
Both teams have had to take the game to their opponents. As you say, Bill, they've had to try and work on the strengths of the other team, try to take that away from them. We've seen a lot of wrestling, we've seen a lot of slowing down and a lot of silly, cheap penalties, if you like, but that's the way that both teams and both sets of players have decided that they will take away the strengths of their opponents. But outstanding Halifax performance.
And it keeps this Halifax winning sequence going. 13 now in all competitions, and they remain at the top of the Cooperative Championship with a 100% record. And man of the match, a real dynamo at the heart of this Halifax effort, their captain Sean Penkovic, and he's now with Ben.
Sean, another win for Halifax, but you did it really tough tonight.
Yeah, I think Featherstone was a really good game today, but I think we dug in well and got the win, and I think we deserved it in the end.
How important was your drop goal at that stage in the game?
Well, it's denied them the bonus points, I think, so any points we can take off them will be good.
And another great win for yourselves, unbeaten so far this year. How big does this victory rank among the season's wins?
Probably up there with the best, because they've given us probably the hardest game we've had today. So credit to Featherstone, they did a really good game.
What's Darryl Powell brought to the... what's Matt Calland suggested this season that's made Halifax so effective in this Cooperative Championship?
Matt's been awesome for us for the 2 years he's been here. He's just instilled that mental attitude, and he's a really good coach, and I think we'll go far with him.
Sean, congratulations. You are tonight's Cooperative Man of the Match. There's the champagne that goes with it. You've also got some money to give to a charity of your choice. Where's that going, please?
I'll get Mike Gregg Fund.
Thanks very much, Sean. Well done. Let's bring in the Halifax coach, Matt Calland. Well, smiles all around, Matt, but it wasn't like that for a lot of this game. They pushed you really hard.
Yeah, I was very disappointed with the first half performance, to be honest. I think Featherstone were the best team in the first half. We were very lucky to be coming 10 points in front, but, you know, what a team. Second half, 83% ball control. You know, to come to Featherstone and score nearly 40 points, you know, I've got to be happy with that, especially on playing on the back of, you know, playing on Sunday, and they had a full week to prepare for this game.
Last week you got 72 points for the second time this year. This match a completely different 80 minutes.
Yeah, well, I was surprised how well Featherstone played. They played really well tonight. I thought yesterday was control of the game. We gave him too much time. Kane played well, and the forwards got him going forward well.
I believe that's a club record run of victories. How happy with the defence are you, though?
We've still got a lot of work to do. I thought, you know, they broke us down a few times today, you know, but really pleased with the performance.
Thanks very much, Matt. Well done.
No problem.
Matt Calland satisfied with that victory, and again his side living up to their reputation, playing some nice footy, but they were made to really work for that. Featherstone pushed them all the way, 26-39 the final score.